Wait, their dad is alive? Hey guys, it's Kristen. Charmed is back, and today we are going to be talking about the mid-season premiere, episode 9 of the Charmed reboot. Consider subscribing if you like my videos, and drop down in the comments and let me know your thoughts on this episode. So the main storyline of this episode was Maggie and Mel realizing that their dad is actually still alive. Maggie gets a vision that she thinks will lead them to the dark lighter, and they think, oh wait, maybe he really is still alive, which he is, spoiler alert, but it ends up leading them to this motel where it turns out their dad is hiding out. We get a lot more background on him. It turns out that he is a professor of archaeology, and he's also like a thief and been selling black market relics to make money, and he kind of got involved with the wrong people and had actually sold an item that was their mother Marisol's, so clearly it was a real magical item. The people that he sold it to were very adamant about getting something else, and when he couldn't deliver, he was afraid that they were the reason that supposedly the manor caught on fire and the girls died, and so he blamed himself, and he also was like, okay, well now I need to go into hiding, so that's why he faked his own death. So I actually really enjoyed that they introduced us to the father finally. I do wish, like I've said before, that there were some flashbacks, just because even in this episode, they kind of hinted at past things, that there were some memories that they had, and I would have liked to see those, but you know, what can you do? But I really enjoyed that they tied his story into kind of the reason why he thought the girls were killed, and it kind of made it feel a little bit full circle. Like maybe the person that he actually sold Marisol's real magical relic to was the master or the overlord or something, and maybe that's what made the dark lighter kind of go after them, which I think would make a lot of sense. I did think it was an interesting choice to make it so that their dad, Ray, did not know about Marisol's magic and, you know, their whole magical family background, because I was hoping that we were going to get some answers there, and instead it kind of led us a little bit more to a dead end. And then it turns out that one of the items that Ray had stolen actually had a Fury attached to it that would come and seek out the item, try to get justice and punish any thieves. So there's this crazy, creepy looking Fury monster that was after him. And I think he really stepped up and did the right thing and proved himself by saving Maggie and giving back the piece that he stole, literally risking his own life. But I think that it showed that even in just this one episode, the first time that we're meeting him, that he grew a lot. I do think that he cares about his daughters, and you know, there's a moment where it looks like, oh, did he leave again? And it was surprising to see that he actually decided to stick around. And I'm hoping that we're gonna get to see Ray be in the picture for a little while, because it was really nice kind of seeing these little like more family moments. And I'm really curious, I'm hoping this happens, because it doesn't seem like he knows, but will Maggie ever end up telling him that he's not technically her birth father? For anyone who might be a little bit confused there, I know it's a super confusing situation, the whole deal with the dads, but basically Macy, her dad was Dexter. We get a little flashback of him in season 1 when they call upon the necromancer to bring Macy back to life. So that's Macy's dad. And then the deal with the necromancer was that Macy could live with her family for 2 years, and then after that her mom could never see her again or she would die. Dexter went off and raised Macy on his own. And in that time, Marisol met Ray and they formed a new family and they had Mel. We know through letters that Macy found that during this time, Marisol was still writing to Dexter. They were still in communication, and it looks like they met up and they had Maggie. Clearly Ray was still around because that's who she considers her dad and who she thought was her father. And she only found out last season that Dexter is her real birth father. And there we go. So it's a little bit of a confusing storyline. And so while Maggie and Mel are reuniting with their dad, we see Macy on the other side of things trying to cover for Maggie at Safe Space, and also trying to make sure that their entire command center doesn't get demolished basically because of a new investor who's coming into Safe Space and wanting to create like an underground sort of like farmland or garden type of situation underneath Safe Space. And this is where we get our new character played by Eric Balfour, who is this investor. He's very big into tech and kind of like innovation, and based off of his character so far and his interactions with Macy, it seems like he's going to be that person that's sort of giving Macy back that outlet to be a scientist again. And I really love that, because that was something that was such a huge part of Macy, and something that I just think is really exciting about the show, to have a black female scientist who finds out she's a witch like like, that's really awesome. Just to see her even talking with him about science was really cool. And I'm hoping that maybe he'll actually reach out to her and offer her a job or something so that we get to have her go back to those roots a little bit. And I think we are seeing a little bit of jealousy here between Macy and Harry because, you know, it kind of looked like her and this new character Julian were on a date, even though she was really trying to save the command center. And, you know, they had some really good connections and chemistry there. And I think Macy is still remembering the kiss that Harry and Abigail had. And, you know, I do think that there was a little bit of that jealousy going back and forth between them. So last episode, Mel found this black amber, which I feel like they still have not really explained very well. But either way, it has resulted in the girls developing new powers. So Mel has this new molecular-based power, which is really cool. Maggie is able to expand on her new vision ability. We learn that she's actually been training with Jordan to learn how to fight. Combining that with her abilities, she's actually able to like anticipate his moves and stuff. With Macy, we actually get to see her go back to her scientist roots in this episode, and it looks like she's trying to experiment on the black amber to kind of see why is it not giving her an ability. What I think though, especially throughout this episode, is that we sort of see her becoming a little bit more hot-tempered and short-fused, and I wonder if this black amber is reacting to her a little bit differently because of her demon side. Maybe it's not going to give her a new witch power, but instead amplify her demon side. Also, speaking of Jordan, he is fine after the whole attack with Parker, but he is having a little bit of a hard time kind of figuring out exactly what happened. So in this episode we do get to see a couple of little moments with him where he pieces together that Maggie is faking her death, and we get to see him follow Maggie because he wants to kind of talk to her about it, and he sort of goes towards the command center and she disappears and he's like very confused. So I think this is going to be the start of him trying to piece things together and figure out what's going on, and maybe he's going to find out the girl's secret very soon. Overall, I really enjoyed this episode. I felt like we got sort of back to the roots of this series where we were focusing on the three sisters, even though they weren't really necessarily all working together the whole time. The characters that we were following were still our three girls, so you know, we weren't really following a Harry storyline or an Abigail storyline, and I like that we got to go a little bit deeper into the family history of Mel and Maggie and Ray. That was really cool. I'm hoping that he'll continue to be a resource for them and that maybe he'll pop up in future episodes, sort of like how Victor did in the original Charmed, where like he was there when they needed him, but he wasn't like always around. I'm excited that Jordan is actually getting more of an active storyline. I feel like throughout the first half of the season he was very like just kind of there and the girls were just poking and prodding at him, and it looks like now that he's sort of already been introduced to something weird is happening, that you know, he's gonna start investigating and doing his own research into what is going on with these girls and like what happened with his curse. You know, I don't think it's really broken. They didn't really do anything other than just stop Parker, so you know, maybe that's something they're gonna have to continue to focus on. In the original series there was a curse that was on Phoebe where she was destined to die around the age of 25, and in every past life that she had, she did. And so Piper and Prue had to help her get rid of this curse, and they used this magical amulet. So I wonder if anything similar like that might happen in this series. And just in general, I feel like really soon we're gonna have to see Macy and Harry confront their feelings together at some point, because I feel like they've been really dancing around everything and not really just saying how they feel. Like, is this a love triangle? Is this a love quadrangle? So I feel like that's coming soon. I feel like this episode was just a step in the right direction. It's kind of what I want to see more of, where there is this overarching storyline of things that are connecting to stuff that already happened, but also, you know, we got a little bit of that demon of the week. We got, you know, a new monster that kind of came into the picture, and I thought that was really fun. I really liked the balance that they had of telling these different stories, and it felt like we were really moving and doing something exciting. I would of course love to see all three sisters come together and really invoke that power of three, but I think that this was definitely a step in the right direction to at least having the full episode focusing on all three sisters. So 2 thumbs up for me, and if you like this one you can check out more of my Charmed reviews right over here, and I'll catch you guys in my next video. See ya!